Hey YouTube, how you doing? So here, what about this light? Let's see, light or no light? I don't know. What do you think? Light or no light? I guess we could do it without the light. Trying to get it. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So trying to get it to all right, that's pretty cool. Okay, so here I'm doing a movie review today on a movie that I saw in 2019, a 2019 movie called Joker, directed by Todd Phillips and produced through Warner Brothers. It had a $55 million budget, and it followed the Dark Knight film 11 years in between the 2008 Dark Knight film to the 2019 Joker film. We had Joaquin Phoenix playing the Joker. And I think this is really interesting because I just found this information out today that that the film 2019 Joker did win two Oscars. It won for original score, and it won an Oscar. Joaquin Phoenix also won an Oscar for Best Actor as playing the Joker. So that's two. I did not know that until today. I did not know that Joaquin did get Best Actor Oscar for the Joker. I did not know that. I thought it was only Heath Ledger who had won an Oscar for the Joker. So, in something else that I had written or discussed, I was saying that Heath was the only one to win an Oscar for the Joker. I did not know. Joaquin has also won an Oscar for a Joker performance. And but there's no Batman as far as I know. No Batman has won an Oscar. It's weird, right? No Batman has won an Oscar, but there's two Jokers who did. That's weird. It's because Batman's a flat character. It's hard to make Batman interesting, it really is. Okay, so anyway, what am I going to do? I want to talk about this movie, Joker 2019. I'm not going to really compare it to the 2008 Dark Knight movie because I really believe that these two movies are totally, totally different. Not just because it's a different director and a different actor, but just because the stories that they are focused on are totally different aspects of the Joker. The Dark Knight is about Joker behavior and why he decides to do whatever the fuck he's doing because he, as he said, he didn't have a plan. And that was more like the chaos of the Joker in The Dark Knight. Whereas in Joker 2019, it's not about that. It's about the origin of the Joker. Why is the Joker the Joker? Where did he come from? And what's his real story? So we get that. And so where I would classify The Dark Knight as a thriller, I classify this one as a not a thriller. It's it's not just a it's not a just a it's not a thriller. It's a I think it's what he said. I think it's what Arthur Fleck actually said. It's a dark comedy. Yeah, it's very dark, but it is a comedy. And I know that that's not going to satisfy a lot of people because they probably think it's too dark to be considered a comedy. But that's what Arthur Fleck said, and he said it to the audience plain as day what this film is. It's a comedy. And I know that's really hard to swallow for a lot of people who have seen this film because they're like, it's just really twisted, right? But he said it. He said it twice, I think, in the movie. My life is a comedy, and this whole movie is about the reason he exists or the what made him. And it's very real. It's so real, and that's what's so disturbing about it being a comedy. It's so disturbing about it being a comedy because it's so realistic. Um, but it is. I have to classify it as a comedy, and you have to have a dark sense of humor to understand why it's funny, even though it's tragic. It's tragic comedy, I guess. Yeah. To be more specific, it is tragicomedy. Um, this is tragicomedy. Okay, but let me talk about the movie. So, uh, it won. Let's talk about the two Oscars it won. It won an Oscar for original score, and it won an Oscar for Joaquin Phoenix as best actor. Okay, so I cannot argue that this movie totally deserves those Oscars. I mean, the score is perfect, but not because some composer came up with completely original music for the entire, 2 hours of the film. There are some really great original music pieces, like climatic music and stuff that's well done. But I think it was the two of the main songs. There was a Frank Sinatra song, "That's Life," and there was another song, and I can't remember it right now, that was playing. But there were two very famous pieces played, and it just, whoever decided to use those two songs, it emphasized the ironic comedy, tragedy comedy of the whole plot of this movie, and so it just kind of like pounds you, and that score is why the combination, the blend of original music being used in the climactic scenes, and those two very famous songs being used to emphasize sort of like in a thematic, way of the Joker. It's just, it was so well done. It was definitely a well earned Oscar for the score, how it was put together. And then I mean, what can I say about Joaquin Phoenix? This is a long time coming that he has deserved an Oscar. I mean, he should have gotten an Oscar when he played Walk the Line. I thought his performance in Gladiator was very underestimated and not mentioned enough. I mean, he's just an incredible actor, and I'm glad he won an award for this performance because it's just long overdue. Okay, but now let's talk about. Now I want to kind of dive into the psychological story, not the comedy so much, because the whole movie is a tragic comedy, and the comedy, everybody's going to be either laughing or not laughing depending on their degree of dark humor and their degree of what they think is. It's like he said again, like Arthur Fleck said, comedy is subjective. So if you don't think this movie is funny, or you don't laugh at all ever in watching this movie, then you don't understand the jokes. Like he said to the girl at the very end of the movie, he said you wouldn't get it. You see what I'm saying? If you didn't laugh at any of it, then you just don't get the joke. But it is tragic. It's tragic too, but it's tragic comedy. Anyway, before I talk about Arthur Fleck, I want to dive into the psychology of Arthur Fleck and his transformation into Joker. I want to talk about one more thing about the Oscars. This film came out in 2019, and it was nominated for one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. It had seven Oscar nominations. It was nominated for original score, makeup, director, picture, costume, cinematography, screenplay, and actor. It won two out of the seven nominations. Oh, excuse me, eight nominations, and sound editing. So it won two Oscars out of eight nominations. I mean, if you get eight nominations from the Oscar panel, there's something right about this movie. Okay, that's all I got to say. Um, all right, now I want to talk about Arthur Fleck. I'm not going to go through the whole plot of this movie. The Joker Part 2 with Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga is coming out next month, and this is why I have decided to review the first one that next month's Joker is following. Joaquin and Lady Gaga are bringing us Joker 2 next month, and so I'm not going to tell you the whole plot of Joker 1. If you haven't seen Joker, I totally recommend it. And I'm going to be in the theater next month for Joker 2 because I've got to see what happens. I just got to see it. So I'm just doing this review for people who are interested and, want to see somebody's opinions about it. Now, I'm not going to tell you the whole plot. I'm not going to tell you scene by scene, plot. I don't want to give you a complete spoiler, but I do want to dive into Arthur Fleck a little bit and pretend that I'm the psychiatrist that he didn't get to see. That's kind of how I want to do it, because he's supposedly in Joker 2 with Joaquin and Lady Gaga. They're supposedly meeting in the nut house, in the crazy house, in what do you want, insane asylum. They're both there. That's how they meet, supposedly, according to the trailer. So I'm going to pretend that I am a psychiatrist that the Joker never got to talk to. That's what I'm going to pretend I am, okay? And this is how I want to talk about Arthur Fleck as a psychiatrist. Um, Arthur snapped when he saw the records, the psych records of his mother. Okay, what happened? A little background is that his mother kept writing letters to his supposed father. He did not. Arthur did not know who his father was. It was just him and his mother, as far as he ever knew, and he didn't know who his father was. And then he started noticing that his mother kept writing these letters to Thomas Wayne, and come to Arthur's attention that his mother, was writing to Thomas Wayne because that's his father, according to his mother. Thomas Wayne is his father. So, this is deep psychology here. So he already has a missing link in his life. He was, you know, only with Penny Fleck, raised by his mother all alone. He did not have a father in the picture. Come to find out, this Thomas Wayne is his father. And when he goes to, confront and discuss, the father son thing, Thomas completely denies that, and says that Penny is crazy and that he's adopted. He tells Arthur that Penny's not even his mother, and Arthur starts coming undone. He's already got psych issues, and he really starts coming undone. Then he goes to the psych ward to get the records about Penny, steals the records, and finds out that what Thomas Wayne said is true according to those records. This is why the gentleman didn't want him to get a hold of those records, because see, he was wise. He didn't want those records released because that was really, he knew that that kind of information could be twisted. And see, this is why I feel really bad for Arthur when he flips out. He does flip out at that point. That's his snapping and breaking point, when he found out that the records backed up what Thomas Wayne said. But that's not, see, I don't see that as the truth. I do not see that as the truth. I put the pieces together a lot differently than the way that Arthur put it together. And you see, I think what happened is that she got pregnant, and maybe Thomas probably was the one who knocked her up, but he didn't want to marry her. And so she flipped the fuck out and ended up in the psych ward. And they made up a bunch of bullshit so that they could cover Thomas Wayne's ass so that he wouldn't have to pay her child support. And there's, yeah, exactly. If she didn't agree to that, then she wasn't going to get back with her son, because they were going to take that son, or she was going to have to say, yeah, he's adopted, so that she didn't get shit, because she was just a little hoe to them. And then she had some kind of boyfriend when Arthur was a kid, and the boyfriend abused them. She was probably all doped up on psych meds, didn't know what the fuck was going on, and some boyfriend, abused Arthur and had him locked to a some radiator or something, and I think he got brain damage. And so he had psych issues from this trauma that happened with some boyfriend that was supposedly taking care of them while she was probably all doped up on psych meds. Okay, so this is the part that Arthur couldn't put together quick enough. When he snapped, he didn't know. All he knew is that everything that he thought was real was unreal. That because Thomas Wayne stuck to his bullshit and some documents backed it up, that Arthur had no idea what was real anymore. That's really effed up. And so I just wanted to say that as as a psychiatrist who really looks into what made Arthur Fleck snap. And I think that it was just cruel, really cruel. So that's all I'm gonna say about the creation of the Joker. His villainous. I also want to talk about the murders because he murdered the three people on the subway, which he wasn't really a murderer at that point. He was a vigilante. He saved a girl, and it was almost self defense. No, not almost. It was self defense. He saved a girl and himself. Over three guys who wanted to be very, very abusive to both of them. So he was just a vigilante on the first three murders. It was when he killed his mother, the fourth murder, and the fifth and the sixth that he had really become a murderer. But the mother was when he snapped and he killed her. And that was also a very complicated situation. The fifth one, I don't know what to say about the fifth one. He was suicidal at that point, and the sixth one was Murray on the show. Now, I don't think that he should have killed his mother or Murray. I don't think that they really did deserve it, even though he says you get what you deserve. I don't think that Murray and his mother deserved to be killed, but I have to say that the other four deaths were self-defense. So, I don't know. That's all I'm going to say about the murders. Uh, I'm really interested in seeing Joker 2 now with the Harley Quinn Joker romance, and supposedly that is going to begin in the Nut House, which is where the Joker movie, the first one, ends. He ends up. That's all we see is that he's in the Nut House. So I am interested in seeing Joker 2, and I want to see what happens. Well, that's all I want to say.